どうも皆様いらっしゃいませ。ほうです。VAMPYR 続きをプレイしていきます。さて、劇場から脱出するというところです。前回ボス倒して、閉まってるだと。
It's locked. The West End should be safe now. But London is not. It would be wise to benefit from the Ascalon's protection while I continue my research during the Great Hunt.
開きますね。出れましたね。
These people want me dead. I need to leave now.
うわ、あれだね。報告をしに行く感じなの。アスカロンクラブへ。どっかいるの？いるね。
So Doris just needed to be close to her audience to infect them. Contagion through skin. Very disturbing.
This is no place for a gentleman.
血を飲ませてくれ。
Get a weapons ready.
違うね。何見てんだよ。もうちょっと血が見て。血がいる。ああ、死んじゃった。僕の血が。箱割り。じゃあ開かない。
I cannot enter.
血を飲ませてくれ。気づいてんじゃねえ。死んじゃったな。やばい、血を喉が渇いて仕方がねえんだ。よし、5万円。ドレス・フレッチャーについてレッドグレーブ卿になぜこっちから戦ってる。一撃やるのか。僕とやるんかい。ほら、なんで振った。落とし物はないのか。さっきなんかこの辺入れなかったね。まあいいや。
Is there anything to connect me to this?
Someone you're close to.
It's always been your house.
Support the equality between men and women. Women of all countries unite.
まだ片付けてない。なんか知らない。あ、アシュベリーじゃん。
Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
I've been formally asked to witness your triumph, my dear. After all, isn't it the natural role of a woman to support her man in victory?
But it's you who insisted I join the Ascalon.
Please forgive my giddiness. I'm just overcome by the thrill of finally being allowed within these hallowed halls.
You certainly have an inquisitive mind. It's quite something. Elizabeth Ashbury, only you can make me smile in these difficult times.
And the same to you, Jonathan Reed. Now go have your little chat with the chairman. I can see he's practically bursting to hear your report. We'll talk later, Jonathan.
はい。
I have a boat ready to go whenever I want. These hunters won't catch me.
誰かいる？
I know we're facing a crisis, but I'm shocked no one took the time to clean up the mess inside the club since we were attacked.
掃除する人がいないのか。あ、いた。チェアマン。
Welcome back to the Ascalon Club, Lance-Bearer. Please tell us the good news. Have you put an end to the epidemic?
My hypothesis was correct. Doris Fletcher was the source of the contagion in this part of town. She was probably the first to be infected.
And you cleansed her before the hunters, I've been told. Well done, Dr. Reed. You thrust your lance and pierced the very heart of the corruption.
いくつかの質問が残りますね。
But some questions remain.
The important thing is, we won a major battle for the survival of London. For that, we salute you.
Thank you, my lord.
Now, I have another task for you. One of the utmost importance. Perhaps even more so than the previous.
I'm listening.
It's time for you to perform a most sacred duty for the club. I want you to recruit a new
新しいヴァンパ
vampire.
イアを連れてき
Recruit
て
a
もらい
new
たい。
vampire? Are you sending me on some sort of diplomatic mission?
Not exactly. I want you to make Aloysius Dawson the Ekon he deserves to be.
アロイシス。仰せのままに、ロード。
As you wish, my lord.
Good.
マイロー。
Now go.
How would you like me to proceed?
Aloysius is waiting for you at the Dawson estate. Once the deed is done, I'll join you there to celebrate this momentous occasion.
質問があります。
Before I go, I have a few questions.
All right, I'm listening.
どのように進めれば？
How would you like me to proceed?
Don't worry. Aloysius has had many years to prepare himself. He has studied our kind for decades.
彼に私の血を与えるだけですか？
So shall I just let him drink my blood?
Yes. Aloysius will gratefully sup on your blood. His heart will slow, then stop. But he will rise again as one of us, an immortal.
Is there any danger?
Our blood alters a mortal body so deeply that some don't survive the metamorphosis. They die for good. But Mr. Dawson has been preparing himself for a long time.
準備すればなんとかなるのか。
Why Aloysius Dawson?
Because he is about to die. And he just may be the most influential man in England. After me, of course.
Did he choose me?
No, I did. My decision is very recent, to say the least, but it is entirely mine.
Does he know I'm coming?
He can't wait to become your progeny, Dr. Reed. Especially now that you have shown how strong your lineage is through your sister.
You invited Lady Ashbury. Wouldn't that be breaking one of your cardinal rules? No women allowed.
Not allowed as members, no. But considering the circumstances, I thought you'd like to have her here to witness your triumph.
So it's a temporary admittance, then.
Something of a bargain, considering the crisis we're currently facing.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
テンプル教会の入り口。あれだね、地下通路を通って行った
Are
と
you
こ
all
だね。
right, Jonathan?
Lord Redgrave has just ordered me to turn Aloysius Dawson, to make him my progeny.
I see. And how do you feel about this?
君の助言が欲しいです。
I'd like your advice on the matter.
The real question here is, why has his lordship given you this task?
Do you think it's some sort of trap?
Do you really want to know what I think about this?
I do, yes.
To make an immortal of a soulless blackguard like Aloysius Dawson will only lead to a disaster for London. The man is already dead inside.
Should I refuse? Perhaps politely suggest that Lord Redgrave turned the man into a vampire himself.
Don't you dare, my dear. According to what I've recently discovered, his lordship could kill you for even broaching the subject.
Really? Why?
I've recently found proof that the Earl of Bristol is of lesser lineage and only capable of creating skulls.
Please tell me more about your recent investigation.
As long as you lower your voice.
Are you sure your information about Redgrave is correct? He says he's the progeny of the great knight William Marshall, who lived some 9 centuries ago.
That's a lie. Lord Redgrave is unable to create anything but skulls, if the poor souls survive at all.
How can you be sure the information was correct?
I made the acquaintance of a most interesting informer while investigating your maker, from whom I learned the truth about Lord Redgrave.
Why so vindictive? You suddenly sound like you're angry.
Forgive me, Jonathan. I hate myself for it, but I feel such pride in my discovery. I'm afraid I just can't help it.
Which is?
He did serve William Marshall. And yes, the blood he covets as a token does truly belong to that legendary knight. But he was never his progeny. His lineage is not so noble.
What would you have me do about Dawson?
The man is dangerous. Did you know he plans to build a wall to separate the healthy rich from the sickly poor? Do not make him your progeny.
What would you do?
The man's dying already. Let the Reaper harvest the rotten fruit that is his soul.
What would happen if I made Dawson an Ekon like myself?
You would add a powerful immortal into a suffering world. An immortal who already craves authority.
Maybe I could teach him control, like you taught me. Lead him down the right path.
Mr. Dawson spent his life searching for a way to cheat death. I'm sure he has spent decades dreaming of how he'd spend eternity as a tyrant.
Goodbye for now, Elizabeth.
Goodbye, my dear. Please, be careful.
アロイシス・ドーソンは誰だっけ？この人か。しない方がいいね。勝手に死ぬんだろう。けどここがこの地域が不安定になっちゃうね。こっちだね。左側に。
It looks like vampires have to obey Mendel's laws when producing progeny. Powers pass from one generation to another. That's why Dawson wants me to sire him.
Stupid!
いきなり殴りかかる。
Look lively! It's on to us! He's dead!
めっちゃいるじゃん。力で行こうかな。こっちにもおるやんか。
See them fancy clothes? This one's a tough!
チクチクするな。
Chest team! Oh Christ!
まだいる。
This is no place for you, sir. Bloody monster!
おいおいおい。 よいしょ。そうだね。本当に合ってるね。赤。知らん人が。
Good evening, sir. May I ask you what you're doing here at this late hour?
I'm conducting an investigation about the epidemic in this part of town.
And who are you, sir?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed from the Pembroke Hospital. May I ask who you are and why all the questions?
I'm Detective Inspector Charles Albright from Scotland Yard. And I don't find your answers convincing. What is a Pembroke doctor doing in the West End at this time of night?
アスカロンクラブの仕事をしていますね。
I'm here on my own, sir. I have no official appointment other than my desire to save lives.
Then we have the same objective, sir. The difference is, to catch my suspects, I use a magnifying glass and handcuffs instead of a microscope.
アローシス・ドーソンを知っていますか？
Do you know anything in particular about a man called Aloysius Dawson?
Who doesn't know the man? I think he intervened personally to put an end to the police strike of last August.
What else can you tell me about him?
Aloysius Dawson is exactly the kind of powerful and influential man who could commit murder and get away with it, with just one phone call.
Why are you investigating at night?
Criminals rarely act in daylight, you know. But since you are also a night worker, have you noticed anything strange which requires police attention?
ジェフリー・マッカラムについて報告したいんですが、バーガル番社を知っていますか？
Does the name Fergal ring a bell? Fergal Bancher.
Of course it does. Fergal Bancher, the butcher of Galway, hung in Dublin in 1857 for murdering more than 20 men with his bare hands. Why are you so interested in dead criminals, sir?
Why are you
Criminal.
Does the name...
Of course it.
What can you tell me about this district?
I'm the one asking questions, especially when there's a killer on the loose.
What killer?
I'm not going to discuss that with the civilians, sir.
Haven't I told you about the investigation I'm conducting? Perhaps I could help you.
All right, without giving you too much information, I'll tell you this. I'm convinced there is a homicidal maniac on the loose, using the epidemic to disguise his kills.
なんだと？
And what about the epidemic?
We both know the situation is critical, don't we, Doctor? Colleagues of mine die almost every day.
What are you really doing here?
I told you. I'm a detective inspector from Scotland Yard, investigating suspicious cases in the area.
Do you work alone?
Yes, the situation is difficult for the police. Many of us are sick, and since the summer strike, most men apply a work to rule on their patrols.
What about the situation in the East End? Why are there no police there to protect the civilians?
I know, it's a shame, but we just don't have enough men to cover the entire city.
なるほどね。大変なんだね。
Tell me all you know about that homicidal maniac you're looking for.
I'm not even sure there is only one. The wounds are always the same, but the modus operandi varies. Sometimes violent and brutal, sometimes precise and swift.
How could different killers inflict the same wounds?
That's my main problem. If my theory is correct, maybe we're facing a group of individuals sharing the same violent tendencies. Perhaps a sadist cult.
What are you investigating, exactly?
Well, my 2 missing persons cases have been solved. By you, it seems. Are you just that lucky? Or do you know something I don't?
I was lucky enough to find them both while conducting my investigation in this part of town.
Why do I still have the feeling that you're hiding something? What about the abductor? Was it the same person?
I don't think so. You had better interview Miss Teasdale and Mr. Kimura on that matter. All I did was to lead them safely home. Do you need medical attention, Inspector?
I'm fine, thank you.
Goodbye, Detective Inspector Albright.
Goodbye, Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
人がいるんだね。なんだここは入れるぞ。
I am sorry, I
知らん人がいる。
can't
プ
help.
ライスの店。
Perhaps you should talk with someone else instead.
Good evening, Miss Price. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you remember me?
僕
Dr.
覚えて
Reed?
ないけど。
Yes, of course. You are the doctor who healed me and my mum. Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Good to see you too, Carol. Are you all right?
Oh, yes. I did not hurt myself recently. I know how to take care of myself now. I'm almost a grown-up.
Have you ever met the famous Aloysius Dawson?
Yes. A very strange man. Not very nice.
What do you mean?
He said he was ready to pay good money for rare books, and then laughed at what we showed him.
Why are you awake at night, Carol?
I am helping my mother in her shop. It's not easy, but I'm a grown-up now.
I'm sure your mother is grateful for your help.
I do the best I can. But I'm so clumsy sometimes. I drop things. I injure myself. It's a good thing my mother has the patience of an angel.
Why is work not easy? Is something or someone bothering you?
Oh no, most people are gentle with me. But I'm so nervous sometimes. I pay no attention and hurt myself. Good thing my mum learned first aid.
What can you tell me of the people living nearby?
I don't speak to many people, except our customers. It's not easy to make friends. And with the epidemic, it's even more difficult.
What can you tell me about the epidemic?
Some of our regular customers have left London. Some others only send their housemaids now. Everybody fears the contagion. I've even seen men with weapons.
Have you no friends at all?
No. Mr. Nithercote used to pass by and was always nice to me.
Does he not come by anymore?
No. Mum said he was weird. Always reciting poetry about a girl he'd met in Whitechapel. I wonder who this camellia may be.
Do you enjoy working with your mother?
Oh yes, Doctor. My mother raised me alone after my father died. We've always lived together, and she has always watched over me.
Do you remember your father?
No, I was just a baby then. My mother always told me how strong and good he was.
Do you ever think about getting married now you're a woman?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. Mum always says I'm still a child who has no idea how tough life can be. No husband would like a clumsy girl like me.
Goodbye, Carol.
Good morning.
It's
Good
locked,
evening,
all right. Good evening, Miss Price. How are you tonight?
Dr. Reed, I didn't know you had returned from the war. I had a new doctor when you left, but he's not as kind as you.
Always glad to see a former patient in good condition. It's been a long time.
Too long indeed. And as a token of my appreciation, I'll grant you the best price if you fancy buying anything from my humble shop.
Do you know Aloysius Dawson?
Everybody knows him. He's only been to my shop once, though, looking for rare books and other intriguing antiques.
Did he buy something from you?
No, he left quickly. He almost laughed at my goods. Mr. Dawson may be a rich man, but you can't buy good manners.
But isn't Aloysius Dawson known for his philanthropy?
That was before his brother Robert died in an aeroplane crash. Since then, the remaining twin has turned into a heartless tycoon.
兄さんがいたのね。
Carol's gratitude is exemplary. She seems determined never to leave you.
I'm taking care of my daughter as well as I can. It's not always easy, but she's the best gift life gave me.
But she'll probably leave you someday to live her own life. Will that be difficult for you?
Why would she leave? Children sometimes stay with their parents until the end, for they know no one else will love them as much.
What can you tell me about yourself, Miss Price?
I'm still managing my shop. The only difference is, since the quarantine, we're open at night. You, on the contrary, seem to have changed a lot.
Really? Have I changed that much? It must have been the war and the night shifts since my return.
Don't get me wrong, Dr. Reed, you're still handsome. Just maybe a little bit wiser, more serious. It suits you well.
Tell me more about yourself. No new fiancé? I remember you were hoping to get remarried. I'm sure you must have a few suitors.
Who would marry an old bat like myself with a grown daughter and a little business? As you know, I only fancy handsome men like yourself.
ジョナサン・リード博士に気があることを認めている。
Have you noticed anything in particular in this part of town recently?
Other than you coming back to cheer me up? Nothing at all, Dr. Reed.
何もない。
Does your daughter still worry you, Miss Price? I remember you were often concerned about her health when she was younger.
Have you not seen Carol since you returned? She's almost a young woman now, but she'll always remain my sweet little baby.
So you're less afraid?
Some things never change. Carol is still too clumsy for her own good. Sometimes her innocence puts her in real danger.
Why would her innocence put her in danger?
She does not realize how cruel life can be. Maybe I was a bad mother to protect her too much. My poor dear Carol.
You have every reason to be cautious, Miss Price, especially in these difficult times.
Maybe you could talk with her, Dr. Reed. It would be nice to have a man here more often. We would both feel safer.
品物を見せて。
May I look at your goods, Miss Price?
It's always a pleasure to have you here, Dr. Reed. Take all the time you need.
そんなにいいのないっすね。いらないです。すいません。
Dr. Reed, I am glad to see you.
周りにちょっと向かっていきます。内側の扉は入れないけど。ホワイトチャペル側に回れそうな。ここにも誰かいない。取れなかった。から。普通にもう敵が。あ、こっち。
This is no place for you, sir.
いた。そんなところで一人で託されてるのも光栄だろうな。釘バットで殴られるし。開くんかな。解錠できました。これで繋がったな。箱あり関係ない。繋げるだけ繋げといて。
Best stay back, sir. Over there!
なんだ。
There's one of them vermin! Ah! There's one of them! Watch yourself! A fifth, brother!
ちょっと待って。血を吸うから待って。
We have to stop it!
痛いだろうが。そうだ。 人間風情が。びっくりした。ここなのかな。どこか。あ、まあ普通に入ったんだ。でかい家に住んでんね。入れる。入って。表から行こうかな。裏から入るとちょっと分かんなくなりそうだから。お？隠れ家だ。そしたらレベル上げでもしようか。そこに。回復と武器の強化ぐらいしとこうか。薬。武器の強化な。あと鉄砲140ダメージ。強いね。ずば抜けて強いじゃん。でも4なのか。ダメージかスタミナ、フラット吸収量、ダメージを210。鉄砲を上げた方がいいかな。良いリボルバーを。いいですね。作れますね。で、火力が上がってて、ファイアレート、ダメージが上がって、スタンポイント。スタンポイントだな。よし。完璧なリボルバー。ショットガンの。完璧。あ、リベット買えばよかったな。いいんじゃないか。あとなんかサーベルはハンドル部品。ハンドル部品か。両手。縦武器用の方向で完璧なサーベルにしとこう。ダメージ、スタミナを減少、ダメージ増加、ダメージ増加。いいんじゃないか。まあ、こんな感じにしといて。で、これをサーベルにしとこう。剣がない。 なんで装備できないんだ、教えてくれ。オフハンドなの、もしかして。違うよね。ああ、こうね。こう縦並びなんだね。うん、よし。じゃあレベル上げでもしようか。6400ある。まあ武器が十分強くなったから、あとは回復だよね。思えへん。いけるね。よし、これで回復が早くなると。4催眠レベル。催眠レベルは本当どうやったら上がるんだろうな。びっくりした、顔が近い。うわっす。よし。あ、それ回復作れって言ってて回復作んなかった。誰かいる？人は喋る。変な人がいる。人がさらに2人。あ、この3人でこの人たちは全員話したことになるな。話せないんだ。話す準備をしてくれたのに。
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Do you need my help?
Yes, please. Would you be kind enough to tell me what the time is?
That's all you need to know.
Well, is it not important to know? As important as where you are? Or who you are?
I suppose you're right. And who are you then, sir?
I am Agamemnon Baker. Like my brother, I think we need to leave this city immediately. And my brother and I rarely agree on anything.
What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
You should ask that question to my brother instead. Personally, I've not seen Aloysius for many years.
May I ask why you've not gone already, if you're so exasperated by this long wait?
I believe fear is holding us back. My brother would have said it's laziness, but it's just because he's prouder than I am.
May I ask what you're doing outside at this hour of night?
I don't know. You should ask my brother instead. It was his idea in the first place.
You must have your own ideas.
From what I have managed to understand, I guess we're supposed to wait here. Waiting for someone to come.
誰か来るのを待っている。
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's the only place I've considered myself happy. Or at least that's what I believe. Unfortunately, it's time to leave.
Why is that?
Because I'm not feeling happy here anymore. Are you?
どういう質問かな?
What kind of question is that? What am I supposed to answer exactly?
The truth. And I believe you just did it, actually.
What can you tell me about your brother?
He's older than me, I think. But the important thing is that I really hope I'll die before him. Grief would just kill me, you know?
Is that all?
Pericles is very attached to this city, and without my insistence, he would never leave this place. We don't often agree on anything, you see?
Who are you waiting for exactly?
The more I think about it, the more I believe it's not exactly a person we are waiting for.
But what else could it be then?
I don't know. A feeling? An event? An impulse? How can I tell? Something that would allow us to leave this trap.
I'm afraid I'm not following you. What kind of trap are you talking about?
Have you ever felt like life trapped you in a role that does not fit you? That you are not in your place? That sort of trap.
Trap? And you think leaving London will free you?
At least it will give us the chance to be free. That's more than our present situation. Hope, Doctor. Hope is what truly drives mankind.
めっちゃ名前呼ばれたな。ほう。
Goodbye for now, Mr. Baker. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I be of assistance?
Dr. Reed? Dr. Reed?
Is there anything wrong?
No, it's just... Your name sounds familiar. And your face. Have we met before?
I think I would remember. So I suppose the answer is no.
That's odd. I'm certain I've already heard of you. My name is Pericles Baker. Does that mean anything to you?
I'm afraid not, sir. But it's a pleasure to meet you anyway.
The pleasure is mine, I guess. I only wish I could remember when it was that we met.
What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
I've heard this is a man who has searched for his place in the world for a long time. I hope he found it.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Baker. What are you doing out here in the middle of the night?
We are waiting. Waiting for someone.
And why are you waiting for this person?
Because we need to leave this city. As soon as possible.
Why do you want to leave the city?
I'm not really sure.
Can you tell me anything about this district?
As you like asking questions so much, would you allow me to ask you one first?
Please, be my guest.
Do you like this city?
I know we are not living in the most peaceful of times, but I have learned to appreciate London's complexity.
Yes, me too. This city tests us. It invites us to find ourselves, to discover our true nature scattered throughout its dark streets.
But what if we don't like what we find?
Do we ever know who we are? I wonder sometimes. Or maybe it is the journey to find out who we are that changes us.
And what do you do, sir? For a living, that is.
I stopped working when I decided to leave. When I realized what I wanted. Wanted something this city can't provide.
But what were you doing before you took this decision?
Does it really matter anymore? Considering the past seems so pointless to me. I have lived in this city all my life. And now I think it's over.
Tell me more about why you want to leave London, then.
I just don't belong here anymore. I had to convince my brother to leave London because I know we need to find another life out of this city.
Pericles, tell me why your brother disagrees with your presence here.
Agamemnon is naive sometimes. Although don't consider him a fool, sir. He is often more lucid than me.
At least you both have the same difficulty explaining what you're doing, and for what reason.
But is that not a common problem for all mortals?
What can you tell me about your brother?
If you are searching for a pleasant chat, you should speak with him instead of wasting your time with me. He's always been the more gentle of us.
That's it? That's all you can tell me about him?
For the time being, true kindness is the most valuable quality, my good sir.
Who are you waiting for? I'm sure he has a name.
I really can't answer that question, since I don't know that person.
And why is that?
This person is mostly my brother's acquaintance. I don't even know his real name. Only that this man could help us leave this city once and for all.
But why would you need this person's help to leave London anyway?
Well, I thought we should have left this cursed place already, but my brother convinced me to stay a while longer, and here we are.
Goodbye, Mr. Baker.
全然わからんな。何なんだろうこの人たち。
Hello again.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Baker.
一人 地面の下にいるんだ。どっかから地下に行けるんかな。またドーソンの家はどっから入る？ぐるっと回ったら入れそうだ。からそれとももう持てないか。鉛の棒。お、なんだ。あ、こっから何の音？なんか変な商人みたいなのが失われた知識の犯罪。ヴァンパイアは危険だ。致命的で時には悪意さえある。これは事実であり、私は否定しないだろう。我々はそれゆえに彼らが何であるか、時には誰であるかを理解しなければならない。より良い相互理解を達成するために。1548年、仲間の一人がスペインでついにこの生物に遭遇した際のタイトゥス・フラビウス・ヨセフィヌスのインタビューを覚えているだろうか。それは我々が過去を垣間見るためのまたとない機会であった。そのためこのヴァンパイアが非常に慎重に選んで表現した一つ一つの言葉が読むたびに我々の心を温めたことを覚えているだろうか。そう、数週間前にバチカンのハンターたちが彼らを滅ぼしたせいで、タイトゥス・フラビウス・ヨセフィヌスはもういない。我々の文化の柱になりうる埋もれた知識という宝は彼と共に消滅してしまった。これはおそらく吸血鬼による無実の人々の殺害同様に悲劇的な犯罪だ。ガード・オブ・プリウェンの行いが犯罪的な上に不毛なのはまさにこのためだ。彼らはイギリスの古い吸血鬼に対して敬意を持って注意深く接近する代わりに、系統的な狩りを守備よく実行し、我々と不死者の共通のルーツを滅ぼしているのだ。彼らは機会を奪い去っているのだ。グレートハントの概念は言葉や思考を盲目的に葬る点において犯罪である。セントポール主座アッシャー・トールツリー長知識の泉にのより。結構集まってきた。伝説のヴァンパイア。あ、まだ1個も見つかってないぐらい。あとはそれぞれ1個ずつ。あなた誰ですか？怪しい様って。
Jonathan Reed. At last we meet. The cards warned me you would visit tonight.
I beg your pardon, sir. Do I know you?
Of course you do. Our mutual friend, Dr. Swansea, can't speak highly enough of you. My name is Usher. Usher Talltree.
You are the leader of the Brotherhood, are you not?
Primate of the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole, to be precise. I'm really glad we met tonight. I love it when the cards tell me a truth.
The cards told you to expect me.
Yes, they can tell me everything. They told me that you have not taken another life since your poor sister died.
Is there anything you could tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
Aloysius Dawson? Yes, of course. We met on several occasions. With time, he got deeper and deeper into the occult.
He's not the only one. It's been quite the fashion for several decades. The Golden Dawn, for instance, is just one example.
True. Aloysius was a member of the Golden Dawn until 1900. Then his thirst for dark knowledge grew. I'm talking forbidden texts, readings which blackened his heart.
Can you read the cards for me?
Are you sure you want to know what they will reveal?
Yes, I am.
It will cost you 150 shillings.
マジ？わかりました。
Here is the money.
The alchemist. A wise and cunning mind who lives by lying to all but himself. He sells false promises and is proud of it.
メイソン・スワンボローのヒントを得た。
What can you tell me about the neighborhood?
I really don't know. I don't often go outside. And when I do, it's usually to quite distant destinations.
So you see nothing in the stars for me? You're a poor fortune teller then.
Oh, I can tell you many things, but they will only concern you, not the city. For example, I know that you offered your sister the final rest she asked for.
Do the cards speak of my Mary?
No. It's the burning aura of guilt that precedes you everywhere you go.
Read my fortune, then.
You have been chosen, Jonathan. I see on you the mark of a strong being, so powerful it needn't even reveal its strength.
Tell me about yourself. What do you do here, besides turning cards in the middle of the night?
I'm for most a charlatan. For a few, I'm a vampire. And for you, I'm the primate of St. Paul's Stole.
ヴァンパイアなの？
Some believe you to be a vampire. Who?
The guard of Priwen, who else? For a time, they sent spies to observe my activities, and they even broke into my home to gather proof.
Did they steal anything from you?
A personal notebook they quickly took to their headquarters. All they had to do is to look at me. I'm aging. What better and definite proof that I'm not an immortal?
Do you want your notebook back?
If you ever find it, I'd be glad to have it back, of course. I do ask one thing, though. Do not read it, Jonathan. Some secrets are not meant to be revealed, even to immortals.
For how long have you been a primate?
It was 15 years last year.
What do you make of Dr. Swansea?
Edgar is a brilliant and dedicated man. A man of his time, sometimes a little muddled, but always looking for new paths and new concepts.
How do you measure the amount of blood on my hands?
I told you. The cards always tell the truth. Well, most of the time.
Is it possible to tell me my future?
A vampire's fate is much more delicate to read, Doctor. But I can try.
話してください。
All right. Let me hear it.
You're on a path to redemption, Jonathan. But be careful. One single trip and you'll fall.
That doesn't sound promising.
Take this, young Ekon, as a personal reward for your strong will. Keep following the right path and you'll reach safety.
古市。
I would rather not know. How did you learn about Mary? And spare me the hocus-pocus parlor tricks. The truth! Now!
Swansea told me. Don't look at me like that. His task is to observe and gather information about vampires. He had to tell me about Mary.
Mary did not deserve her fate. She had already suffered enough during her life. And yet the pain and the suffering went on after her death.
Suffering is part of the immortal condition. Some prefer to lose their minds rather than face the simple truth. Pain will never stop.
May I ask you about the Brotherhood?
Of course. But I must warn you that there are some subjects we consider taboo, in spite of our fondness and acceptance of your kind.
I know there is no love lost between the Guard of Priwen and the Brotherhood. What caused this rift?
It was 1801. The Brotherhood was stronger then, a strength that made them hungry for ever greater power. An argument divided them, and the wound never healed.
What was the nature of the disagreement?
The problem was that both sides considered themselves the legitimate heirs of the original Brotherhood. We divide up the books, the relics, not always fairly or with consideration.
Who founded the Brotherhood?
That's precisely the kind of question I cannot answer. It is delicate and may reveal some of our secret traditions.
So you're not just a club of academics and scholars?
Once upon a time, very long ago, the Brotherhood did more than simply study the vampires. They took actions to eliminate the more ferocious and corrupted.
Goodbye, sir. Until we meet again.
I rarely wander, yet it amuses me to converse with your kind. Perhaps London will survive.
クエスト出たね。フリウェンのエージェントに奪われたアッシャー・トールツリーのノートのありかを調べる。
The epidemic, but I see terrible
It's locked,
trials
all right.
waiting in the future.
あ、なんかここを踏んだらなんかなってる。床のスイッチがあるの。あれメインクエストどこ行った？邸宅に入る。消えちゃったな。これをつけたから。メインクエスト消失だな。まあなんかどっかあったよな。裏側から入れそうなとこ。もう
I cannot enter.
入れない。どこなんだ。ここは教会なのかな。邸宅。さっき裏側っぽいから表に回ろうって言ってたところが普通に表の入り口だったのかな。ここには入れそう。同じか。ここら辺に入り口あって血の跡。こっち側。
This is no place for a gentleman.
普通に表か。ここが。着いた。
Dawson's mansion. Here I am at last. But the question remains. Am I ready to make a dying man my progeny?
まあ僕はもう敬類にする気はないけどね。レディ・アシュベリーの言うことを聞く。なんか評判悪いし。アスカロン的にはなんだろうな、まあ、有用だと思われてるな。まあそれによって敵対するかもな。嫌われてしまうかもしれない。扉だ。
Finally, you're here, Dr. Reed. What took you so long?
I had to pass several of your barricades and outposts to access your mansion, sir.
Death, pestilence surround us, and time is against me.
I see you've gathered some of the most expensive, albeit experimental, blood transfusion equipment available. All this could be so useful in a hospital.
Yes, yes. Since Lord Redgrave sent me a doctor to perform my conversion, I thought you might find some of these devices useful.
Most thoughtful. But tonight I'm not here as a physician.
But I feel reassured that a specialist such as yourself would help me to escape the Reaper.
Very well. But before I proceed, I have a few questions for you.
If you must, but be quick, for I don't have much time left in this life.
First of all, I need to be sure that you know exactly what is going to happen to you, sir.
I can assure you I'm as informed as any man can be. I have planned for this moment, Dr. Reed. Planned very carefully.
Sir, I'm going to end your life. Do you not wish to discuss the procedure for even a minute?
I don't have a minute to indulge in idle chatter. I can't feel my legs. And the cold. So cold.
You'll need to feed on warm blood. Blood from mortals. How do you feel about that?
I'm rich, Dr. Reed, and powerful. I'm sure I'll be able to acquire all the blood I need without ever having to sully my own hands.
I will become your maker. Do you understand what that means?
Well, I certainly won't consider you my liege, or some such drivel. You can be assured of that.
What do you know about the Guard of Priwen?
What I do know is that I'll crush anyone or anything that would dare to oppose me.
Let's move on then.
Please, I'm cold and tired. I feel my life waning with every moment.
But first, before you embrace immortality, what would you do with such a gift?
That's a rather impertinent question, Dr. Reed. And I will do as I please.
Answer me all the same. What will your first action be as an immortal?
To save London. I will finance the most efficient quarantine ever seen. I will build a wall that will separate the sick boroughs from the healthy ones.
You really plan to build a quarantine wall across London?
Yes, it will be tall and strong, separating the wheat from the chaff.
By doing so, you will also create two separate prisons.
Come, sir. An eminent doctor like yourself knows that such radical measures have proved efficient in the past.
Let me guess. You mean to isolate the rich from the poor?
This is a desperate measure for desperate times. England must prevail, Doctor, no matter the cost.
Who gave you the right to decide the fate of thousands of people?
My money. My money and my pending immortality gives me the needed authority, Doctor. I'm a businessman. I'm used to tough decisions.
Quarantine is not a bad idea, medically speaking. But I'm convinced this epidemic will not be contained by mere walls.
As long as the right people are on the right side of the wall, that's all that matters.
But you can't guarantee infection will not spread. Just one contagious carrier would be enough to create an apocalypse.
The apocalypse is already knocking at the gate. We must be strong now.
What if a new outbreak happens inside your walls? You'll have created a giant trap.
That won't happen. As long as we dispose of anyone that is contaminated as soon as they are spotted.
I've heard enough. It's time to proceed.
At last! All right, do what you have to do. If it hurts, so be it. I've been preparing such a long time for this.
VAMPYR にしてやる。死への恐れを忘れて安らかに眠れ。
Listen to me, Aloysius Dawson. You will forget your fear of dying, for it has poisoned your mind and made you bitter and ruthless since the death of your twin brother.
You don't understand. Death is oblivion, the eternal void. I know there's nothing there. I saw it in Robert's empty eyes. I saw myself in that coffin.
Death is painful for those who remain, not for those who have passed.
All that occult gibberish you filled your head with has made you forget this simple truth. No! Death will not claim me. I have the power and the money. I've acquired the arcane knowledge needed. I believe there is magic, there are dark forces. You will provide me my extension. Your ignorance makes you a fool. You have no idea. Look at me. Hunted like a beast, my family lost, cursed. I have not escaped death, I have become it. No, there must be a way. I don't want to go like my brother did. I have money, lots of money. Money won't ease your mind. I know you used to be a good and generous man. So I offer you the gift of peace, Aloysius. The tranquility of a true death. I accept your offer. And I understand. No more fear, I will die a man of dignity. And a man at peace.
静かになくなったな。人は死ぬぞ。
It's locked.
施錠されている。鍵持ってないのか、じいさん。怒られそうだな。間に合わなかったっすーつって許されるんかな。広いな。
It's locked, all right.
なんだ、金庫がいっぱいあるけど全部閉められてる。時間ですな。新聞記事。ジョン・フランシス・スパローの処刑。ジョン・フランシス・スパロー21の公主刑が今朝ペントンビルの刑務所で執行された。スパロー氏は妹のアレクサンドロ・スパローさん殺害に関して有罪が確定し死刑を宣告された。彼は最後まで無実を主張していた。犯行現場に彼がいたという公式な証拠が法廷に持ち込まれることはなかったものの死刑を宣告されとにかく執行されたのである。スコットランドヤードはスパローさん殺害で終わった事件の全容にいくつもの不審点があるにもかかわらず再捜査を否定した。スコットランドヤードで、捜査を指揮したチャールズ・オルブライト氏が我々の質問に答えることは一切なかった。しかし3週間前、彼は何の公的な説明もなく降格処分を受けている。捜査の有能さに対する報酬としては何とも風変わりなやり方である。
Reduced in rank for falsely accusing a man of murder. I wonder what Inspector Albright thinks about his punishment.
なんで5円？絶対5円置いてんね。こんなもんかな。あさり倒したかな。なんで各階にピアノ置いてんだろうな。誰かいる誰かいる。ここにいたんだよね。ここは見た、ここも見た、ここも見た。で、上行った。で、こっちから降りてきたから、まあ見たんだろうな。お、あれこの人。
Is it done, Dr. Reed?
なんでこんなとこに来た？
Is Aloysius Dawson reborn as expected?
I'm afraid Mr. Dawson finally chose to embrace life and death as a mortal.
What do you mean?
He has overcome his fear of dying. I let him rest and wait for death to come.
What? This is unacceptable. Go back there and make him the powerful Ekon he's destined to be.
No, Lord Redgrave. As a doctor and as an immortal, I can't. If you wish to make him your progeny, then proceed on your own.
This is an outrage beyond words. This is betrayal, pure and simple. I should kill you on the spot. You swore on William Marshall's blood.
Well, get rid of me then.
From now on, you're an outcast. Banished. You are forbidden to ever appear in front of us again. Ascalon will smite you on sight, and your heart will be thrown to the rats.
I'll leave you then. Have fun with your puppets and shadow plays, Lord Redgrave.
Yes, go, traitor, and take that awful creature, that counterfeit of a woman I saw waiting for you, and be gone!
そして汝は剣によって死す。
Step away, traitor. Return to your dubious friends and your decrepit hospital. Do not dare show yourself again, you or that monstrosity you bring to my door.
ローブリジットと話す。地下だね。それでは今回はここまでにしたいと思います。次回がローブリジット。あれ？外にいるのか？あとはサイドクエスト、パリカを調べるノートと遺言を探していきたいなと思っております。それでは最後までご視聴いただきありがとうございました。また次回をお楽しみに。ホープでした。